Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of No More Mondays, Midweek Momentum. As always, I am your host, Angie Callen, here with a little boost to get you through the rest of your week. And what I want to talk to you about today is something that may seem very strange coming from this former engineer who loves people, and that is creativity. Because this came up in a recent episode with Steven Shapiro. And if you have not listened to his full episode that aired in the last 2-3 weeks, then you should definitely tune into it because he will get you thinking differently about what it means to be creative and to innovate and to lead in this current time and place that we live. And what I'm here to kind of reinforce or highlight for you is you are more creative than you think. And that is important in this time and place of like technology and AI everywhere and everything, because creativity is a human skill. And for example, I still remember it had to be like 13 years by now. I went to a conference with a bunch of creatives, which is a funny thing to have done. But at the time I was running an art center, so it kind of made sense. And I still remember a speaker. His name's Vital Germain. Vital, if you're listening to this, thank you for the following. He stood on a stage and he says, you have to be artistic to be creative, but you don't have to be, nope, I'm messing it up. You have to be artistic, creative to be artistic. I can't even remember my own phrase, you guys. How's that for just recording these raw, right? You have to be creative to be artistic, but you don't have to be artistic to be creative. So let me say that again the right way. You must be creative to be artistic, but you don't have to be artistic to be creative. And I remember that being very freeing for me because I had people that have said, oh, you're so creative, but I am not an artist. I am a former engineer. I love numbers and I am analytical. However, I love strategy. And the reason I thought this was a compelling thing to put in all of you and a seed to plant for all of you this week is that creativity isn't actually an art. It can look like problem solving, strategy, pattern recognition, innovation, like Stephen and I talked about a few weeks ago. And realizing that there is something to be said for creative strategy is really important in this time of workforce disruption and the future of work, because we know AI can generate. It can generate all kinds of things and output until your little heart's content. However, it can't actually create. And that may seem like a false statement. However, AI runs on historical data. At the simplest, it is a data parsing tool. It just has massive amounts of data to pull from, large language models, LLMs, right? And it can seem like there's a level of creativity there, but ultimately the ideas that it's giving you that feel creative actually came from some sort of historical data that is in its base of information. And so to truly create, the human has to come and direct and to even connect and to see what is new within the information or to push a process beyond where history could ever take it. Creativity is a human skill. And you know how much I love to talk about human skills on No More Mondays, as we humans still matter, combat mediocrity, and take ownership of what we're able to do. And human skills are becoming a competitive advantage. Creativity, creative intelligence, for any of you that listened to Lori Seymour's episode a few months ago, we talked about creative intelligence is a human skill. And that is the thing that allows us to use AI in new and innovative ways, to be an augmented human, not a replaced or displaced human. It's also the thing that helped us create AI in the first place, people, right? Creativity is a human skill. And as soon as you realize that fact, you will be able to step into that uniqueness. What type of creativity, right? Do you actually like art and create physical things that are a representation of the creativity in your mind? Because side note, AI can never do that. But the point here isn't just all about AI. The point is the fact that creativity is a human skill and it becomes a competitive advantage alongside AI as well as other humans, because the way in which your creativity manifests is a differentiator and something that makes you unique. For instance, I have told a million people that if you give me an idea, I'm going to give you 87 ways to make money on it. It is an ideation and a creativity that my brain can't help but tackle. And that to me is that right brain, left brain engineer trying to solve a problem, right? Instead of solving an engineering problem that has a step 1, a step 2, a step 3, a step 4 to come to some sort of like design solution, I'm taking a much more nebulous concept of an idea and problem solving, how it could actually be implemented and executed and put out into the world as a solution or something of interest. So that to me is my competitive advantage in the human skill of my type of creativity. Yours might be different. You might be the person who can see how the steps from an idea to implementations take place. You may be the one who is creative to look at something that exists and optimize it. You might be that creative artist, right? But at the end of the day, we are all creative. Creativity isn't necessarily art. It's problem solving and strategy and pattern recognition and innovation and all the beautiful things that make us the creative, intelligent beings that we are. So as we wrap up this week's Midweek Momentum, I'll ask you, where are you being creative and not giving yourself credit for it? Where are you being creative and not realizing that it's creativity and that human skill in action? Have fun exploring your creativity this week, and I'll see you on Monday for a new episode of No More Mondays.